questions on Western Sahara and South Sudan, but given how little time we have, I want to be sure to ask you this question, particularly now that my files were moved out onto First Avenue on Saturday. My question is as follows. My question is in the UN OIOS audit, and in the whole discussion since the indictments in October, it's been said that this is an audit of NGOs, SouthSouthNews, Global Sustainability Foundation, Sun-Canip Foundation. And as I would trust that you know, in the Panama Papers, now McClatchy has reported that in fact Englap Sang's SouthSouthNews was in fact a for-profit entity incorporated in the British Virgin Islands, a tax haven. And so, one, how can it be that a UN audit into this didn't reflect on this? What does it change in terms of it being? There was a press conference here in which civil society said there's been a corporate, invasion of the UN, and I would tie it to the Ban Ki-moon era.
What's the question?
My question is, now that it's clear from the Panama Papers, a major global scandal, that Englap Sang, who paid bribes to get into the UN, in fact, used offshore corporations to do it.
Okay, what is the question?
Okay, the question isn't this audit little more than a cover-up? In that it doesn't.
No.
How can UN auditors not call it an
NGO? There is a criminal investigation going on, which was we've said we would work with and cooperate with and obviously look at the requests from the U.S. Federal authorities. As I mentioned, the audit is a first step. Other investigations are going on, and SouthSouthNews status is being reviewed here. I will say, for the record, that your files were not moved out on First Avenue. From what I gather, and from watching the live broadcast over the weekend, you refused to provide an address for them to be shipped.
Because I don't trust them.
Well, that's your choice.
Why would you?
But that's your choice. So I would want you to portray that they've been moved or thrown out.
They were on First Avenue. I wanted to.
Yes,
Ban Ki-moon was.
I'll come back to you, Anna.
Yes, please.
Matthew, and then unfortunately that'll have to be the last question because the PGA is waiting.
Sure. I wanted to ask you. I'll limit it to this one on Western Sahara and this issue of. I'd asked you, and then I'd asked Farhan about the documents that have emerged of the UN's knowledge of fraud at the hotels used by the mission. Omar Hilali had said that there was never a written request from the UN to clarify that, and I've seen a document that purports to be a UN Kim Baldock to the minister in charge for Morocco. Right. So what can you say? What is the UN's position? What is the status of that inquiry that began more than a year ago between the UN and Morocco about fraud in the mission?
I don't have any updates on what Fahan may have given you. What is clear is that if we've written, I can only speak for letters that we sent. I can't speak for those to whom the letter is addressed.
But she did write to Hamid Bourez. You can confirm that Kim Baldock wrote to Hamid Bourez more than a year ago.
I can only talk about what letters we sent. Linda, and then we'll really have to go.